The election years that I will be comparing are 1972 and 2016. Before comparison, let us first get to know both 1972 and 2016 election years. I will be covering about background, candidates, and major issues. During the US presidential election 1972, the campaign focused on the prospect of peace in Vietnam and an upsurge in the economy. Unemployment had leveled off and the inflation rate was declining. 2 weeks before the November election, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger predicted inaccurately that the war in Vietnam would soon be over. The campaign ended in one of the greatest landslides in the nation's history. In 1972, the Republicans nominated President Richard Nixon and Vice President Spiro Agnew. The Democrats, still split over the war in Vietnam, chose a presidential candidate of liberal persuasion, Senator George McGovern of South Dakota. Senator Thomas Eagleton of Missouri was the vice presidential choice, but after it was revealed that he had once received electric shock and other psychiatric treatments, he resigned from the ticket. McGovern named Sergeant Shiver director of the Peace Corps as his replacement. The campaign ended in one of the greatest landslides in the nation's history. Nixon's popular vote was 4,769, 911 to McGovern's 2,970 and 383. And the Republican victory in the Electoral College was even more lopsided, 520 to 17. Only Massachusetts gave its vote to McGovern. During the campaign, a break-in occurred at the Democratic National Headquarters in the Watergate complex in Washington, D.C., but it had little impact until after the election. On the other hand, this year's campaign focused on racial and women's rights, raising wages, illegal immigration, and trade agreements. Candidates of the 2016 US presidential elections are Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Donald John Trump is an American businessman, television producer, and politician who is the Republican Party nominee for President of the United States in 2016 election. He is the chairman and president of the Trump Organization, which is a principal holding company for his real estate ventures and other business interests. On the other side, we have Hillary Clinton, who is an American politician and the Democrat Party nominee for the President of the United States in the 2016 election. She served as the 67th United States Secretary of State, the junior United States Senator representing New York, First Lady of the United States, and First Lady of Arkansas.
Now we will talk about the similarity between elections. Both Republican candidates Nixon and Trump have similar views that taxes should be low and the economy should not be regulated. According to Trump, he aims to cut back taxes to bring back manufacturing jobs and plants back to the United States. Similarly, in 1972, Richard Nixon's plan was to cut back on taxes to stimulate the economy. On the Democratic side, both candidates shared a similar view of having an active government through tax increases and economic regulation. Both Hillary Clinton in 2016 and George McGovern in 1972 planned to increase taxes for the wealthy to promote better redistribution of wealth. According to Clinton and McGovern, the rich do not pay their fair share of taxes because of tax loopholes. A large portion of the 1972 and 2016 election is about the ability of candidates to handle foreign threats. In 1972, both Nixon and McGovern promised to end the Vietnam War. However, Nixon's strategy of Vietnamization that he introduced in 1969 proved to be much more popular because it made the United States withdraw troops from Vietnam without appearing to have given in to the communists. Similarly, in 2016, a major presidential campaign theme is how the United States will combat ISIS. Both candidates have talked extensively about defeating ISIS during their campaigns. With the exception of Donald Trump's vetting process, both Trump and Clinton's strategy against ISIS is quite similar, centering around international coalition and cyber warfare. Another similarity is that both these elections are embroiled in scandals. During the 1972 election, a break-in occurred in the Democratic National Committee's headquarters. The burglars stole documents and bugged phones. This would be known as the Watergate scandal. At the time of the election, the connection between the break-in and President Nixon was unclear. Nixon attempted to cover this incident up by many attempts, such as bribery and blocking the FBI's investigation. After his attempt to cover up failed, Nixon resigned before he faced his impeachment. Similarly, in 2016, both candidates are heavily embroiled in scandals. Donald Trump is involved in a sexual misconduct allegation. 15 women have accused Trump of groping them. Trump has denied all these accusations. The Democratic candidate Clinton is involved in a scandal regarding her email usage. It began when Clinton used her family's private email server during her tenure as Secretary of State. Over 33,000 emails were deleted. Hillary claims that using a private server was simply a mistake, and she declines to answer questions regarding why the emails were deleted. Now we will talk about the differences between the elections. The first difference is the types of candidates. Both candidates in 1972 served in government positions before running. Nixon was a vice president and president, while McGowan was a US senator from South Dakota. However, in 2016, the Republican candidate Trump is a businessman and has never held a government position before. Hillary Clinton was also a former Secretary of State. If Clinton wins, she would be the first Secretary of State to be president in over 100 years. Another difference between the elections is the presidential debates. It is a custom for main candidates to have several debates during the election. These debates are important because it is targeted towards undecided voters. However, in 1972, there were no presidential debates between Nixon and McGowan. It is believed Nixon refused to debate because he believed he was too far ahead in polls that he wouldn't need the help of the debates. The third difference is there are issues that were rarely discussed during the 1972 elections, but became one of the main topics for the 2016 elections. One such topic is illegal immigration. Nixon and McGowan rarely, if never, discussed illegal immigration. However, due to the steady increase in illegal immigration over the decades, illegal immigration is now one of the most important topics during the 2016 elections. Both candidates have talked extensively about illegal immigration. Trump's plan for massive deportation and a new wall at the southern border earned him a lot of support and backlash. Clinton has a much softer stance towards illegal immigration, choosing to provide selected illegal immigrants with pathways towards citizenship. As a conclusion, there are many similarities between the elections, although the elections are decades apart. However, there are also differences due to the emergence of new issues and threats over many decades.